All right, Mike, I forgot what we were talking about.
Myles Garrett was introduced as the newest member of the Cleveland Rams, as the Los Angeles Rams, excuse me. No longer a member of the Cleveland Browns. And when asked about why L.A. was a destination he was willing to waive his no-trade clause for, he alluded to the fact that he wants to win a championship. He feels he needs a championship to cement his legacy, and this is exactly what Myles Garrett said.
Here, I see a position to solidify myself here as well among the very greats. I still have plenty of great years in front of me, and being able to cement that legacy not only as a football city here in L.A., but as an individual and winning Defensive Player of the Year at a Super Bowl or more, those things are definitely pressing on my mind, and I have a definite bit of urgency to do it and do it right away.
I think Mikey could have read that better, Bull.
He could have.
I would have.
Well, because it's weird. It's weird. And Myles Garrett's always been a little weird, right? He talks more about individual accomplishments and these type of things than any player in the league. I find that strange. Now, I'm not, I'm not a superstar football player, so maybe I just don't get it. But I've never heard a player talk about winning awards and stuff like that. I know he's talking about winning a Super Bowl. I don't know. We don't judge pass rushers based on winning Super Bowls.
Do you think he needs a ring, though, to cement his legacy as one of the best pass rushers ever?
I don't, but I think there will be some people that will say, well, some of these other great pass rushers have played in the playoffs. Like, he hasn't even been in the playoffs. So I don't think they necessarily have to win a Super Bowl. Because those guys all, the great guys haven't all won, but most of them have. But the reality is, the only players that get judged based on the Super Bowl are quarterbacks.
Yeah,
That's it.
I was going to say, quarterbacks 100%.
And even then, they're judged too much.
Yeah.
I think, based on Super Bowls. Because, like, Eli Manning's a Hall of Famer because of 2 Super Bowls, and he's not an all-time great, in my opinion. So
he's my favorite player ever.
And people criticize Dan Marino because he didn't win a Super Bowl.
Right, exactly.
And he's way better than Eli Manning was.
Way better.
Football is the ultimate team sport. And there's no debate about that. Dustin, you could tell us
100%.
Inside and out 10 times better than any of us can explain it. But Myles Garrett, we said this yesterday, had 5 sacks against New England, the game they lost by 19 points. He completely dominated the Chargers in 2024 in a game they lost by multiple touchdowns. He set the sack record last year on a team that was not good at all and was drafting in the top 10 for a reason. There's only so much of an impact an edge rusher can have on the outcome of said game. When I go back and think of the best pass rushers I've ever seen, and I'm 33 years old, so the Lawrence Taylors, the Reggie Whites, just before my time.
And both those guys won Super Bowls.
Myles Garrett is unquestionably the best edge I've ever watched play football.
You saw Strahan play. You think he's better than Strahan?
He is. Yeah, I think he is. So. And Strahan's really, really good. But
he's also won a Super Bowl.
And he did win a Super Bowl. But Myles, to me, is in that conversation or on track to be in that conversation already, despite the fact he hasn't played in the biggest games.
Yeah.
I understand why a player in today's culture feels they need to have that thing, that championship ring, or at least that moment, because as a overall media landscape, ring culture is really prevalent in today's conversational world. It shouldn't be, but it is. So I understand why he thinks he needs it, but I think when you come back and look at it with common sense and a level head, there's only so much Myles Garrett can do to impact winning.
I have a question for you guys. Maybe you guys have already talked about this. I have not paid much attention the last couple of days to what you guys' topics were. Sorry. But is he going to go in the Hall of Fame as a Brown?
Oh, we haven't discussed that. I mean, I would think so.
I mean, we'll see if he wins 4 Super Bowls
if he wins a Super Bowl in L.A. and plays there for 5 more years or 6 years or 7 years or whatever.
I mean, if he played that long, then it could change, sure. If he
but I'm just, I got me thinking about it last night. I'm like,
I hadn't even thought about that, but
he's played 9 seasons in Cleveland.
Yeah.
You only think of him as a Brown.
Right, but
well, he's never been anything else.
If he plays a long time with the Rams, I mean, if he plays 3 seasons and wins a Super Bowl, no, but if he plays 7 seasons and wins a Super Bowl or multiple, then yeah, he might be. By the way, I think this is highly unlikely, but Myles Garrett could hurt his legacy playing with the Rams. What if he's not as good?
Right.
Then it's like, he's a fraud. He only played well when the
garbage
team
time.
Garbage time, yeah. Now, I'll be stunned if that happens, except if it's because of injury, but it's possible.
I would say, listen, I think his numbers definitely will decline. Definitely will decline in LA because he's going to have to play consistent football. Like, he's gonna have to go every down.
Yeah.
Like, there's not gonna be moments where he can just
Right, but they have
Yeah,
other.
but they're going to be in the lead, and he's going to be able to pin his ears back and
Yeah.
actually be able to
We'll
get
see.
more pass rush opportunities
Yeah.
when
I
he
mean,
knows the team's going to
I
throw the
can't-
ball.
he's
listen,
not getting 20 sacks this year. I promise you that.
He may not get 20 sacks, but before last year, he had never had more than what?
16.
16. I'd
bet-
be surprised if he doesn't
I'd-
get 16.
I don't think he'll have 16 this year.
No?
I don't.
Okay.
I
think
think
he's
he
going to
could,
have.
yeah.
I get what you're saying, that he's got to be more consistent. I agree, against the run, whatever. I think he was more last year than he had been in the past.
Until the end of the season.
But, yes, because they're going to be ahead way more often, he's going to have more, rushing the quarterback opportunities.
I showed you guys the stat yesterday.
Yeah.
Jared Verse was second in the NFL the last 2 seasons in pass rush attempts with the lead. Myles
Yeah.
Garrett was 54th.
Right.
Think about that.
Jared Verse the last 2 years had essentially
Double the amount of pass rush opportunities
with the
lead.
lead than Myles Garrett did,
Yeah.
because the Browns are never ahead, or obviously.
We'll see.
way
I'm
less.
not rooting against the guy, certainly, unless the Browns happen to be playing him. But I think that the numbers have come down a little bit because of the circumstances. I mean, the games are going to be more meaningful. It's not going to be with Jim Schwartz, who put him in a
Right.
perfect position every single snap to get
Yeah.
those numbers. I mean, they dialed it up for him pretty good last year.
At times, it felt like the defense was just for him to get
100%.
sacks. Whereas the Rams are all about winning.
Yeah.
That's it. They're all about winning. They want Myles Garrett to help him win. I disagree that he'll have significantly less sacks, but I agree with your general point that it's not about him. It's about winning.
Right.
Yeah.
Where at times it felt like with the Browns, it was about him, especially late in the season when the
Yes.
team stunk.
Do you think, with Sean McVay as his head coach now, and with Matthew Stafford at quarterback, we're going to see an entire different mindset from Myles in terms of buying into what this team is actually trying to accomplish? As
Yeah, I
opposed
think
to
so.
Here in Cleveland, where he clearly did not see eye to eye with Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah.
And after Jim Schwartz was passed over, which we'll talk about later in the next hour,
Yeah.
he had some issues with the whole organization.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, listen, he had his flaws in terms of leadership, right? He didn't have the best reputation in certain ways in the locker room of being a leader by example. Now, on the field, he was as good as it gets to lead by example. But off the field, not like he was getting in trouble or anything, but sometimes he was not the most focused guy in meetings, or he would come late and stuff like that. And when you're that good, you get away with it.
Yep.
I don't know what he's going to be like. It was interesting that he showed up in L.A. 2 seconds after the trade, after never coming here for off-season activities.
I think he was already in LA.
Probably was already
Yeah.
there,
Because there was the video of Jared Verse getting off the plane.
Yeah.
There was no Myles Garrett
No,
getting
that's
off the plane.
true.
I think he was just already
You're
in
right,
LA.
but I'm expecting him to be at all
Does
off-season
his girlfriend
activities.
live there?
I don't know.
I
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought so.
That's
Well,
what I
I
heard.
I mean, when you have the money he
100%.
has, you could have a house everywhere.
Yeah,
you
true.
know. So
True. It suits him to be in Los Angeles.
Yeah,
he's a superstar.
Yeah,
That's
and
what
I think he
superstars
will-
go to LA.
I think he's going to. I mean, and have we heard more about Aaron Donald coming out of retirement?
he said if he could find the fire, he would come back out and play again with Myles Garrett.
I'm sure. I mean, that would just be so crazy.
Yeah.
I wonder what kind of shape he's in.
I mean,
He's still in good shape.
you got to figure he's in great
still in
shape.
good
He's got to get football shape, obviously.
Yeah.
He's been out for 2 years. But don't you think with him? I mean, he wasn't that young. I mean, he wasn't that old when he retired.
No.
He was like 32.
He's the same age as Odell Beckham Jr., who just re-signed with the Giants.
I would think that if he by the middle of the season, he'll be great again.
And they wouldn't have to. He wouldn't have to play every down.
No. But I mean, if you're an opposing offensive
Situational
line
pass rusher.
and you see Myles Garrett
my
and
God.
Aaron Donald on the field together,
I mean, we've always joked,
Yeah.
that's the best interior pass rusher I've ever seen and the
Yeah.
best edge rusher I have ever seen in my
Yeah.
lifetime, paired up together on the same defensive
insane.
line. What is an offensive coordinator? Do you have to shift 4 guys into protection to the left side of the line to make sure those 2 aren't getting one-on-one opportunities? I mean, that is literally unheard of.
I don't know, man.
Insane.
Start running the wing T.
Yeah, and by the way, they get the ball back. They're giving it to Matthew Stafford,
Yeah.
Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams,
Yeah,
Kyron
yeah.
Williams, and
I mean,
that
they
plethora
got to
of
be the
weapons.
favorite now to win the Super Bowl.
oh
right?
yeah, no doubt.
I haven't seen updated odds since the deal was gone through, but
I
they
mean,
were.
who's the favorite in the AFC right now?
In the AFC,
AFC.
I would
Yeah, you're
maybe the Bills.
I was going to
it's
say
the
maybe
Bills,
Buffalo.
Yeah,
It'd be
it's
the
not
Bills.
going to be New England, even though they went to the Super Bowl.
I would say the Chiefs,
Bills
may
and
be-
Ravens.
I'd say Baltimore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think the Rams with the Seahawks the Rams are probably
right
the
up there.
favorite.
After the trade and the McDuffie trade, yeah, they probably are the favorite.
Yeah, I mean, the defensive players don't move the needle like a quarterback does, but you're talking about, a defensive player that moves the needle more than any other defensive player.
Yeah.
I don't know if McDuffie moved the needle at
I
all.
don't think by himself, but the combination of that to add to a defense that was right on the precipice of winning the NFC last year. I mean, they were right there against Seattle in the NFC Championship game. Couldn't get that one last stop. They needed one stop against Sam Darnold. Weren't able to get it. Do you know what helps get one stop against Sam Darnold?
Yeah.
Myles Garrett and Trent McDuffie.
That's right.
So